Okay, good afternoon, Marisa here. We're going to replace a touchscreen panel on a CF-19. As you see, we have some tools here that is going to be required to do the job. We have a hair dryer, just in case your hair gets all messed up. This is to take the glue out of the screen. Then we're going to have a screwdriver, a utility knife, a flat head screwdriver, and a scraper to remove the glue. And we have my parts here today is the touch screen panel. It's just the regular one for MK1 and MK2 is your finger touch. So if you buy just the panel, you receive something like this in the mail. Take this out of the way. And then you have to replace the unit. You also should receive some double-side tape. That is the little push one. It's going to put in, and you can just buy it, I believe, on Staples they have some, but it should come with this screen. Okay, and I have here the unit that we're going to be taking apart to replace the touch screen panel, because this one here is this part. It's no longer working. So we're going to start the process of removing all the screws. And I'm also going to show you the difference in all the panels, the dual touch and the digital touch. There is a lot of screws to be removed, so just be patient. It takes longer to remove all of this than to replace the panel. Okay, my out of I could have already started ahead of this, but I want the process of doing everything, so it's going to take a little time. Need a bigger screwdriver here. It's good to have the two size screwdrivers because it's easier sometimes to just remove all of this. Right now we're going to remove the antenna covers. You don't have to remove this two screws here, just, and my magnet's not working here. This is going to remove all the covers. Thanks for joining us here today. It's a nice Thursday afternoon, sunny outside. We removed this. Now I'm going to remove the hinge cover. As you see, there is two small screws here. Use the small screwdriver to remove this two screws here. And then you have two other screws right here. And this is a process that have to be done if you are removing the screen, replacing the speakers. If you have to replace any of these antennas, this is the process that you have to go through, removing everything. After we get out this, if you notice there is some screws around here that is holding this cover, so we want to remove. That is 3 per side. And this is MK1, and this touchscreen panel is going to work on MK1 and MK2. the regular finger touch, not the digital touch. The digital touch is a different panel. One good thing about the CF-19s, they take almost all the same screws on the inside, so you won't have to keep tabs of your screws that well. I always use a flathead screwdriver to just pry this open. Not have to tap much. Now pay attention to this, because when you put them back together, you do not want to squeeze any of these cables with the lid, because that'll break it and you have to replace the cable. So this is one part. Now we have to get to the panel. To get to the panel, we have to remove the entire. This is a part that I want to show. I'm a little ahead of myself because this is a digital one. I already had mine taken apart that I'm going to do the regular touch, but I want to show in case you have a digital touch. It looks like this on the inside, and we have to disconnect this. So to remove this part, we also have to get the antennas loose. So you have some screws on the side. This is what I need you guys to pay attention to, because probably your unit have this. I already had my apart. The boys are very noisy back there, like they're having a party, matinee mat. They should quiet down a little bit, but they just make sure there is a wire that goes in here. Don't pull on it, just careful. Remove. This is your speaker, so that can stay. You're not going to have to remove. We just have to remove this part out. So you're going to unplug the speakers right here, because this part will stay with the screen, and we have to get the antennas from this side now. You also can buy the touch screen panel. We sell, I don't know if you've seen that in our website, that is the entire front. Then you don't have to replace just this, you replace the whole assembly. It's like this entire part that we sell. I believe it goes for like $2.99 or something like that. But sometimes you can get the panel cheaper and just have to do the work. Either way, you have to take the antennas to put the front cabinet back in. Okay. Same thing, be careful, don't pull. It treads really nice here, so just remove right here. This is where your stylus goes, so you just wanted to remove that. Be careful not to break the cables, because to replace this is a pain. Typically I replace the whole thing just that, to replace just one cable, because it's a lot of work. Okay. Now we're going to remove these two hinge screws. Okay, now we have this. Okay, I'm gonna get this good speaker. Lift this up. So we stack together. Lift this. The screen is going to stay here. And this was the part that I was talking about, because we're replacing this. If you have just a digital, if it's the digital and this breaks, you don't have to buy the touch panel. You can just buy a regular panel and put in here, because the digital is here for the MK1 and 2. I hope this is not too confusing, but this is the process. We need this part to remove. I have one here that I have that is a digital finger touch that we're going to use, but I already had it apart because it was one of my repairs. I just want to get to this part here to show you guys how to do it. It stays with the screen here is where your touch screen. See how I did that? Fast swapping that around. Is as usual, make sure that your battery is not there. Okay, forgot about the first step. Take your battery out. And your touch screen will connect to the touch screen board that is right here. So you're going to unplug this, then you want to lift this screen like we did in the other one, because this is the fun part. All right, so now we have to remove this part here. So let me put my computer back to the side. Keep tabs of your good touch screen panel, because this one is going to be a bad. I try to recycle and reuse all these. Sometimes you don't get this when you get the shipment with this, so just gently you can remove. This is not the double side tape. This is just like a bumper. It's a rubber that only has glue in one end. Please do not put the double side tape here, because then this will stick against your screen, and when you try to remove, both of them will break. This is just has sticky on one side, non-sticky on the other side, and the other side. So just put this on the side, because you can reuse this if you don't get one with yours. So we're just going to put here. Remove all the sides. Again. It seems like it's a lot of work, but most of the work is done by have to remove all the screws. And after you put everything together, make sure that you don't have fingerprints on the inside of the screen. Okay. Oh, this is your bad screen, so if you scratch on the inside and get dirty, you want to be careful when you put that one back, you don't get any scratches. So now is where we're going to use the hair dryer. I already did my hair this morning, so I don't need to do that right now, but let's plug it in. And what I do, this is where your double side tape is, so you can just warm it up a little bit. That should do it. Stay here. Now gentle, you can start pushing. It's always more glue here, so I always start on the bottom. Be careful not to break. If you handle this too hard, you can just break this, although it's a bad one, but it'll be glass all over the place. If you want, you can put some tape here, in case you break, but just be careful, because you don't want to get hurt. So here, and then this part is where it's a little more glue, so this is where our artillery knife comes handy. Just very careful. Just want to remove this. This is your bad, so just put it to the side. Don't mix with your good. So now we have an empty front cabinet. If your cabinet breaks, your screen's still good, you can do the same process. Just be careful when you remove this to put in your front cabinet. And now we're going to just need to put the double side tape here, because this other one will be enough. If it's not, then you can have to scrape that to put the new tape in. I know I had some here. Oh, here it is. So here's the tape, the double side. You're just going to need some in here. And I typically don't remove this part here until I test the touch screen panel to make sure that it works. If you want, you can connect the touch screen panel direct to the screen before you replace, but I have this all tested up here before I start doing this. And then you just trim here. Okay. Now, I always like to work upside down, so this one will go, this is your touch screen. So this always goes to the right side, because that's where your board, your touch screen board is. I'm just going to put in here. I know I didn't remove the sticky, I know I didn't, but I just wanted to test this first to make sure that it works before I put everything back together. And this was my laptop. Get it back in here. This is our antennas, our screen. Just be careful, your touch screen board. It's right there. Just make sure that you hook into the hinges. There we go. I'm not going to connect anything now, just the touch screen that you connected. If it's straight, the part with the, you can see there with the electronics there, the ribbon, that goes under. So if it's straight, you just want to do a little fold and have with the white up. If you put the other way, it's not going to work. So make sure that the electronic part of the ribbon is connected to the board. Okay. And now I'm going to put my hard drive in. And before I put everything back, because you saw the process, it's a long process, I'm going to test this screen. So, make sure our cables is to the one side, because remember what I told you, to be very careful, you don't want to pinch the cable. I always like to put the hinges here so you don't put stress on your hinges. So just put one there. Don't need to tighten up so much because we are going to remove to fix the touch screen. Okay, now I'm just going to turn this unit on. I know I have an AC adapter somewhere here. Here's my screen. Let's wait for the operating system to come up. This one happens to be an MK2 that I'm replacing the screen, and we have loaded with 7 Pro. I didn't disconnect the screen in any part, so the screen should be working fine. But if you had to replace your screen, you follow the same process, so you didn't have to take all the antennas in. But now we're basically just looking for the touch screen. As you see, my touch screen is working, or my touch screen panel is working. So now we're just going to turn this off, and we're going to put the unit back together. And that was the finger touch. You can use a pen, stylus, your screwdriver, just don't go crazy in there. All right, so now unplug this. You can leave the hard drive there. I'm going to unplug this because I have to put all the connectors back in there. You put this. Like I said, I always like to test it because I hate to have to put everything together and then your screen is not working and then you have to take everything back apart. So here's the screen. Now I remove the tape. If you need, you can put more here, but make sure that you scrape the old, but I'm going to be able to reuse this because it's a good strong glue left there. This is kind of hard. You need a little fingernail there. And I lost mine last week doing some CF-30 system board replacements. There you go.
This is the double side. This will be double side. You put your screen there now. Make sure that you sit nice, centered. Don't do a sloppy job, because then your screen will look horrible. The touch panel will look crooked, and then you're going to be like, oh, why is my screen crooked? And it's not the screen, it's your panel. So put this down. Typically, I just go like this with my finger, but every time I do that, I end up cutting my finger. So let's just use a piece of cloth. There we go. Make sure that this sticks there. And I always do a little lift to make sure that I have this nice. Yeah, it's not crooked. Now remember the little bumpers that I say put on the side, because you can't reuse them. They have sticky on one side, non-sticky on the other side. Please do not put the double side tape here, because you will mess up your screen, because once you put your screen here, will get attached to the double side, and then you forget that when you're going to remove, and you mess up your screen and your touchpad, and everything breaks, and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I need to buy a new laptop. Just put in there. And sometimes this stretches a little bit when you remove, so you may have to cut, but this is perfect. Just use the rag. Okay. And you have to do this if it is a touch screen, or if it's not, if it's just a panel in front of your digital. See, this one got a little longer, so I'm just going to trim here. Okay, remember that potty knife? You can remove this if you want to, but it's just something else that you have to remember to put it back in. You can work around. Okay, now comes the hard part. Clean it. Make sure you get all the fuzzies out. You don't have your fingerprint. You know how many times I clean it up and I had to all put it back together, and then you see an eyelash in there and you're like, really? And you can make a wish and blow and it's still gonna be there. Okay, now I'm also going to clean up the screen, just in case I got fingerprints against the screen, because you don't want that. Appears to be nice and clean, no smudges. Then we can put our screen back in. Should fit there. And here's your backlight. So if you had to replace your backlight, it would be right there. So you're getting more than just panel replacement here. Your speakers is right here, so if your speaker ever goes bad, same process, open everything. We're going to connect it. Don't forget to connect again. I did that several times, because you plug everything and then you're like, why is that my sound doesn't work? And you forgot to plug the speakers. So, gosh, man, I can't see. Oh, it goes like that. There we go. I try to reuse all these things, stickies. Here you go, your speaker's there. Now let's, all this have to go back the same process that we did before. So let's connect your touch screen panel to your board. And if it happens that you have a bad touch screen board, you replace this. I'll open here and I'll show you. If it's just the board that is bad, you only had to replace this. Then you don't have to take all this apart. It basically just pops up and then it's connected to the ribbon cable. Then you just would, connect that back in, pop back in there, and connect your good panel to it. I probably see his fingers. Where's my cover? Just put that in there. Now remember when I told you to be very careful when you put the cable back in here? Please be very, very careful, because one time I broke the Bluetooth antenna and I had to replace, and it looks like a octopus in here with all this cable. So you just want to put that in there. Just make sure, because this lid has to go on top of it and you don't want to break it. So just make sure all your cables are nice and tucked underneath where they're supposed to be there. And, oh, and in here. Now we're going to thread this here. This is all your antennas. This is your LAN, and this is your WAM. So just make sure to put all that there. And you can see how it goes, just like threading a needle. Don't pull on it, be gentle. Go. And then you're gonna use, they are the smallest screws in the batch there. It's 4 per side. Here, get your small screwdriver. And then you just attach to the side. And if you happen to lose one of the screws, you can borrow one from the memory cover or the WAM cover on the bottom. They have 4 until you can find more, because they're the same size. So in case you drop and you need a screw, and even on this one here, you can just put one on each side. Make sure everything's there. See how there's a little bumper in there? Make sure that that bumper is there, nice and stretchy. Let's work on the other side. Remember this one goes under here, then you have to kind of thread this one underneath here. Where's your stylus holder? If that breaks, so again, you can just replace by removing those 2 screws there, and this is where cases your stylus. Sometimes the stylus break inside and get caught. You can just open and, you know, remove that way. See how it has some little grooves in here that you can separate your cable so they sit nice. Okay, again, you have a black and a blue now to thread. The blue stays here, but the black continues to the top. There we go. And then you have another 4 little screws. And they're the same as also the hinge cover, so you can always use those in case you drop. Told you to take more time to take it apart, all this, and put it back together than to replace the panel, but it's always like that. Okay, just lift this here open. It's on the wrong side there. Make sure it's behind it. Okay. Now you put everything back together. Make sure that your hinge screws is nice and tight, because otherwise your screen is not going to be nice and tight. There we go. This keeps sneaking up. Okay, now I'm going to put this cover. Be careful with the wires. Make sure that they are all nice in there. And I'm just going to put a few screws to secure it. I'm not going to put all the screws in case something happens and we have to open everything. And you learn that after you fix about 10. Sometimes we're doing this process and it's an overnight and we have to send back to the customer and we forget to put the screws. So you may receive a little note saying, hey, here's the rest of your screws, please put in your laptop. Doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it does. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the unit back on because I want to make sure that I don't have anything in between the screen and the panel. So let's turn back on. It's a little dark in here. Let me clean the fingerprints on the outside. It looks nice and clean. Now we just have to put all the covers and of course the screws. You know, we're gonna put 3 screws here. They are the little white ones. I don't know if you can see them in there. They're the silver ones. And it's 3 per side. Up, see, hook it up to speakers, have sound. If you don't hear that, that means you forgot to hook it up your speakers. Let me check to make sure. There you go. Touch screen is working. Beautiful, look at that. Can you see that? See? And that's for this one. I have no marks. Everything looks nice and clean, no little eyelashes or big eyelashes. Let's put it back together. And then I'll show you the difference on the panels. Okay, that is 3. You may think you have to put one there, but you don't. That's where it holds the antenna. You put your cover on the top. Left or right, they fit in both sides. There you go. Then we just need to put the screws here, but I want to show you if you had a digital screen, it would be just a regular panel. So this one you only would have to replace the same way if this broke, which when you don't have to buy a touch panel, you can just buy a panel and that will just cover in there, because if you have an MK1 and MK2 that is digital touch, this is the digital part of it. It's just a panel that will connect to your screen. And you have to buy the digital screen. So this is for the MK1 and MK2. Typically, you know the difference if you buy a unit. Most popular is when the second letter after the C or the F is the letter D. That 99% of the time, that is digital. You follow the same process, but it's just this panel that you have to replace. Okay, and if you have, I have a few more here to show you the difference. This is an MK3 regular touch. It also works for the MK4 and MK5. If it is just a regular touch that you can touch with your finger, you would replace the same way. The touch panel on the front will be the same way. It will connect to this ribbon cable here. And as you see, connect the same way. Here, connect to the screen here. and you'll be fine. You follow the same process, remove that to replace this. If you have a dual touch, I have another one to show you here, and I have some more. If you have a dual touch that can be finger touch and digital, is a different touch panel that you have to buy. Touch board, I'm sorry. You have the digital digitizer unit. Is a different screen and is a different board. The connectors are different. I can put them side by side. If this is too much and you need a little more detail, just give me a call or send me an email, tech_support@bobjohnson.com. Give me your model of your unit and I can let you know exactly what you need, and I can make a video especially for you for the repair. But this is the difference. I know the MK3, 4, and 5 is the same. I haven't checked the 6 because I don't have any, just a brand new one, and Bob does not let me take apart new units. But this is the difference. It's just the panel. I'm sorry, the board, not the panel. The panel is the same. Okay? And this is for MK3, 4, and 5. I think this concludes our video. Just remember to put everything back together. Don't forget to put this. I can stay here with you guys if you're having fun and finish putting these units together. You can watch me. If you're bored and you don't want to watch this anymore because you're like, I can handle this, then just push that little like button that we have there, because like this Bob will let me spend some time playing with the computers instead to do work around here. Today you have to put up with me because Matt didn't want to do this. So he's like, that's too much work and it's hot, and he had like 10 excuses like that. So I'm like, kid, I'll do it. So I always say when you don't want to do something, you have to only come up with 3 excuses. He came up with like 10. He really, really didn't want to do this. No, I'm just kidding. He was busy doing something else. We have a lot of repairs and people that need their stuff like tomorrow. So I told him, don't worry, I'll do it. You continue to please our customers by repairing their stuff. Go on Twitter. I guess you can follow Ed and Bob. I know Bob posts a lot on Twitter there. I think Austin sometimes does something. Put a comment there. Like our video. Shoot me a little picture of you on Facebook so I know how you look. One of these days I'll put my picture so you guys can see how I look. I'll promise you do my hair so I don't look like I just get out of bed. Probably winter time. Okay. One more. If you have extra screws, that means you were very efficient. So, and you don't need all those, We have a few more in front here. And we also have this little covers. If you need to buy, we sell them individual or by the pair. Just please give me the part number of your laptop if you need to buy them, because MK1 and 2 is the same. 3, 4, 5, and 6 is a different wing, as I call them. Same thing with the top cover is different. So just put when I ask for part number, don't put your CF-19. I need the entire part number, CF-19, F, H, A. No, those other numbers and letters that come after that. Or K, D. Just, because otherwise I'm going to have to call you or email you and say, hey, you're missing some letters. And if I guess which one it is, you are going to get the wrong part. Man, I was efficient. I think I lost a screw here. Oh, nope, found it. They have this black cover with black screws. So, let's see, one more. And this repair is almost done. I can send it back to the customer and they'll be like all happy, because I told them it wasn't going to be ready until tomorrow, but I got to it today, so I'll send it out. They'll probably have tomorrow or Monday, and they'll be, oh wow, a Bob Johnson computer stuff, man, they rock. And but I think I replaced that for him too. Sometimes when you're sending stuff for repair and I see that you're missing port covers and stuff like that, I'll just repair that for you. And there you are. That's how you replace your touchscreen panel on your CF-19. It's a lot of work. Don't forget that you need a hair dryer. Yes, you thought you'd never use a hair dryer. Haha. You're gonna have to use one if you don't know how. On, off, hot, not hot. Again, thank you for watching. If you like, push the like button. If you don't like, well, don't come back next time. Tell a few friends if you like us. If you don't like, oh well, come back. You know, if you don't like, come back and give us another shot, because we are really, really awesome around here. Especially Austin, they have to sit here and listen to me talk about this, like talking crazy here by myself. Thanks again. You people rock. Peace out.